Hey, it's Nate from Konnected here again, and in this video I'm excited to introduce to you guys our newest product, the Konnected Alarm Panel INTERFACE. Now this is a brand new product that I just announced a couple weeks ago. It's designed to connect in parallel to a wired alarm system like you see, like the one behind me. Now this is different from the original Konnected Alarm Panel product that I launched on Kickstarter in 2017. And now that's not going away, it's still here, the Konnected Alarm Panel. Now this product is designed, the original product is designed to replace all of this. So this is a great use case for somebody who's has an old wired alarm system in their home, but they don't use it. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe they just bought a new house that has an alarm system, but you don't know how to activate it, or you don't want to activate it, or maybe your home was pre-wired with all the sensors, but there was actually no alarm panel installed. If that's the case, then I still recommend the original Konnected Alarm Panel kit, but that's not what we're talking about today. Once I launched that product, I got a lot of emails from many of you looking for something to be able to connect their existing alarm system without ripping apart all of this stuff, but still be able to unlock the potential capability to monitor and control their old wired alarm system with their smart home framework, our smartphone app. And that's where the new product, the Konnected Alarm Panel INTERFACE, comes into play. And today I'm going to show you how to do that with my DSE panel demo that I've got back here. How to hook it up, how to monitor if the alarm has been triggered, and if it's armed or disarmed, and also how to remotely arm and disarm it. And of course, use all of my zones and sensors for home automation. So let's get started. But first, before we get into the details, I want to show you what comes with the kit. These are available now in a kit that comes with everything that you need. So let's go take a look at what that comes with. Okay, so I've kind of laid out here the contents of our 12 zone kit, and I want to just point out everything really quickly so we know what we're looking at. This is the 12 zone kit because each connected board, just like the original connected product, supports up to 6 zones, but each kit comes with a connected circuit board for the number of zones that you have. So this is a 12 zone kit, so it comes with 2. Each circuit board comes with a Node MCU Wi-Fi module. These are the same. It runs the same software as the original Konnected Alarm Panel. We've got a power pigtail here. This is for powering your device from the auxiliary output from your existing alarm panel. In this case, because it's a 12 zone kit, I've got a 2-way splitter so I can share the power between the 2 boards. Some jumper wires for making your connections. These magnetic standoffs for mounting the device on the metal can. Some adhesive standoffs for the relay module. This is the relay module, and the relay is included so that you can use it to switch key switch zones, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit. But since this is a 12 zone kit, it comes with 2 relay module, two channel relay. The 6 zone comes with 1 relay. The 18 zone comes with 3. And we've got our connected mini screwdriver pen, and this will just make it easier for you to make some of the connections with our precision screwdriver, and a couple of stickers. So for this demo, I have a DSE alarm panel that I've sort of set up as a demonstration on this piece of plywood here. But it's a fully functional demonstration. I've got 3 zones here, and these are kind of your typical magnetic door or window sensors. So they could represent 3 doors, windows, motion sensors. It doesn't matter, they all work the same. But I don't know if you can see from the video, but once I remove the magnet from zone 1, then it lights up here as open and the ready light goes away. So these are fully functioning. Zone 2, and zone 3, and I've got my DSE keypad here, so we'll be using that now. For some of the advanced features like remote monitoring, remote arming, you will need to be able to program your DSE or your existing alarm panel. It works with any brand as long as your alarm panel has programmable outputs and programmable zone types. So we will be using the keypad to program it. Now I can't advise you on how to program every single kind of alarm panel out there. That's not my area of expertise, but you should be able to figure it out by just downloading the manual. So we'll go through the DSE demonstration right now. And then I replaced the siren with this strobe light here instead, just so I don't wake up the neighbors or you know, freak anybody out by setting off the siren, or damage our hearing. So let's take a close look at the connected board. This is different from the original connected alarm panel. We only have 6 screw terminals across the top, labeled zone 1 through 6. And then you'll see zones 1 through 6 repeated here on these tunable potentiometers. And we'll go over in a few minutes on how to use those. Your power input is here. This can also be used as a power input or a voltage reference, and I'll go over that in a second too. There are a couple of ways to power this device. And then we have a little jumper here, and that's has 2 settings, one that says panel and one that says outlet. And I'll go over that in a second too once we get to the powering stage. And then here in the top left corner, we've got 3 pins. This is for connecting that external relay. Now this works just like the original connected alarm panel, where we've got the Wi-Fi module and the board, and then the Wi-Fi module is inserted into the board just like that, and into those pins, and then press it down like that, and it snaps in. So let's just take the magnetic standoffs, our little baggie here. I kind of hold it with my thumb, and then screw that baby on right there like that. A lot of you are going to email me saying, Nate, my magnets are missing, my magnetic standoffs are missing magnets. They're not. They just sometimes get separated in transit here. So just take, see this one actually has 2 on the end here, so just take 2 together, slide it off like that, and now they're both complete. Okay, now I've got my 4 magnetic feet on the board, and now it just kind of sticks there on the door or at the bottom of the can. Let's see if we can zoom in there, or anywhere where you can fit it. Okay, first step is to insert the Wi-Fi module. Once we've got the screws for this magnetic feet on there, we can put the Wi-Fi module in. It's just important to get the orientation right. The USB port here faces the same direction as the power ports, and this is the PCB antenna here, should be hanging off the edge slightly. So we just line up those pins and press it down in all the way. Now I mentioned there's 2 ways to power this device. Most of you will be able to use this DC pigtail and connect it to the aux output of your existing alarm panel to power it that way without any external power. And that works fine. We recommend 12 volt DC. These alarm panels usually output around 12 volts, sometimes 13, 14, it doesn't matter. Anything up to 20 volts will be fine, as long as it's DC power. However, a lot of these alarm panels are limited in the amount of current that they can produce through the auxiliary output. So I like to, as a rule of thumb, budget about 200 milliamps per connected panel. So if you have 2 of them, that's 400 milliamps. If you have 3, that's 600, and so on. So for kits that are 3 boards or higher, that's our 18 zone kit and our 24 zone kit, it will come with an external power adapter, which you can use to power it instead. Now there's a jumper setting on the board here. Let me make sure you guys can see that. It might be easier with the Wi-Fi module removed. There we go. So this little jumper here has 2 settings. I know it's hard to see in the camera. Panel and outlet. So if you're powering the device from the aux output of the alarm panel, you want that jumper on the panel side. If you're powering it from a separate power adapter like this one, then pull that out, move it over to the outlet side. Okay, so most of you will be able to use the auxiliary output to power your connected device. So I'm going to take this DC pigtail. I've stripped the ends a little bit of the with a wire stripper. If you don't have a wire stripper, just carefully use a pair of scissors or a razor to kind of cut some of that plastic coating off, and we'll connect red to aux plus and black to aux minus and plug it in. Awesome. So you can see that once it's powered on, there's a green power light here, and the Wi-Fi module, as it's blinking blue, that means it's ready to be connected to my Wi-Fi. Now, if you're using an external power adapter, this is going to be a little bit different. So we'll take that jumper and move it. There we go. To the outlet setting. Can you guys see that? Push that in there. And then we'll plug in our power adapter to the DC power port. But we also have to connect this terminal block that's labeled VREF and ground to the alarm panel's auxiliary output, plus and minus. Plus to VREF and ground to minus. Now VREF stands for voltage reference, and this is necessary because we need to get a reference voltage of what the alarm panel's power is and power output is, and this is kind of what makes this circuitry a universal solution. It'll work with pretty much any wired alarm panel as long as we have that voltage reference. Now this won't draw much current from your auxiliary output, but it does have to be connected if you're using an external power supply. So this will go into here, and then the other end would go to your auxiliary plus and minus from your alarm panel, and make sure that that jumper is on outlet. Okay, so now the power is covered, the device is plugged in and ready to go, and that blue light is blinking slowly and steadily. That means it's ready to be connected to Wi-Fi. So I'm going to take out my phone and do the Wi-Fi connection steps first. The connected device itself is broadcasting its own Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to connect to that one. Now I'm going to get a warning on my phone that says, warning, internet's not available, but just ignore that, that's fine. And then we open up our browser, 192.168.4.1, and then this is a little internal connection screen on the device itself. So I'll select my home Wi-Fi network and then put in the password, and then give it a second there, and sometimes it will say completed and sometimes it just hangs at this screen, but that doesn't mean that it's not working. What we really should do is take a look at this device, and once that blue light stops blinking, then we know that it's connected to our Wi-Fi. Okay, that blue light has stopped blinking. That means the device is connected to my Wi-Fi, and now we can go ahead and start wiring up the zones and see them reflect in our home automation platform. Okay, so I have 3 zones here hooked up on my demonstration panel: Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3. So we're going to connect those 3 to Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3 respectively on the connected board. And to do that, I've just got a couple of these, 3 of these male-to-male jumper wires. I'm just keeping them together to make it nice and neat. But essentially all we do is connect that wire from each zone to the corresponding zone here, and make sure that you're connecting the wire to the zone itself, not the common. It has to be on the actual zone output. So let's grab our little screwdriver and make that happen. Now you notice here that my panel does have resistors wired here at the in the panel, which is to be honest, a kind of a dumb way to do it. The resistors are really supposed to be put at the end of the line, like where the sensor is, but I see this all the time. But that's okay. The point is that this device works with any type of resistors. If it doesn't have resistors, that's fine. If it does have resistors, that's also fine. I'm going to show you in a minute how we tune it for your specific resistance level. But first, let's just hook up the wires. So all I've done is run some jumper wires from zone 1, 2, and 3 to zones 1, 2, and 3 respectively on the connected board. That's all there is to it. You see the green light's still on, the power is on, and one of these little lights lit up over here. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so now we're going to tune our potentiometers on the top here to dial into the exact resistance level for this panel. Now if your device doesn't have any, if your alarm panel doesn't have resistors, then you'll just kind of crank them all the way to in the counterclockwise position. But for most of you who do have resistors wired in your alarm panel somewhere, we're going to want to do this tuning process. So for that, I'm going to get my connected screwdriver and remove this attachment and put that little tiny flathead one in there, because these are really tiny. Okay, we've hooked up zone 1, 2, and 3, and we are looking at these little tuning dials over here. They're called potentiometers for zone 1, 2, and 3. Now what we're trying to accomplish here is when the door is closed or the circuit is closed, that orange LED should be on. And then as soon as the door is open, the orange LED will go off. As I turn this back a little bit, you see the light goes off. And then I want to dial it back in clockwise just so the light goes on. And this is when the door is closed. Now if I open that circuit for zone 3, then you see the light go off. And then back on again. Same for zone 2. And zone 1. So they all look like they're tuned appropriately now. So you'll want to repeat this process, but obviously with your real doors and windows. So you might need a partner to go around the house to open and close the doors to make sure that when the circuit is closed, that orange light is on, and when the circuit is open, it turns off immediately. If you get it kind of right on that line, if you see the orange light flickering a little bit, then that's kind of too close. So tune it a little bit so it's on solid when the door is closed or the circuit is closed, and then off completely when the circuit is open. If you don't have resistors, then you want to tune it all the way counterclockwise until it stops. Now don't overturn these things because you can break them. They're very fragile, so you can feel where it's going to stop, and don't force it any further than that. So I'm using Home Assistant for this demo just because it was easy for me to set up for the demo, but this works the same for SmartThings, Hubitat, and OpenHAB, and any other platforms that we may support in the future. I've got my zones set up as I just called them zone 1, 2, and 3 here, for demonstration purposes, but of course you'll name them for whatever your actual doors are called. But now we can see it actually working. So as soon as I take off the magnet from zone 1, I can see in the app that it opens almost instantly. And I don't know if you noticed that, but you saw that orange light go out, and also a blink of that blue light on the Wi-Fi module, and it's going to happen again as soon as I put it back. Did you see that blue light blink? And the door changed to closed. Let's try zone 2. It works just as well. That blue light blink is when we get a successful communication with the home automation platform. It's a successful API call. So that's what we're looking for. I'm not going to go over the configuration of Home Assistant in this video, or the configuration of SmartThings for that matter. That's covered in other videos, but just showing you how great this actually works, and it's almost instantaneous how it shows up that state change on my smartphone here. Now I also want to point out, and this is probably one of the most important parts, is that it doesn't interfere with the operation of the old alarm system at all. You couldn't see this from the previous clip, but when I open and close each door, we still see the zone numbers come on the existing alarm panel, and the ready light went out as soon as I opened one of those doors. So we know that the existing system is working, just as it always has been, and we are kind of tapped into those sensors so that we can monitor them with our home automation framework. And it's just going to work as if there was nothing there. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. It literally took me less than 10 minutes to connect the connected board to my old DSC panel, and now I can monitor the status of all of my zones in Home Assistant or SmartThings or whatever. So that in itself is great, because now I can use all of my pre-wired alarm system sensors and motion sensors and whatever for any type of home automation that I want to set up in Home Assistant or SmartThings, including turning lights on, HVAC control, door open announcements with Alexa, or whatever it is that you want to do. Now you can do, and that's pretty cool in itself. But I know a lot of you are going to want to be able to monitor the armed and disarmed status, and also know if the alarm has been triggered remotely from your phone. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. And to do that, this is where we kind of step into some of the alarm panel programming. We're going to have to do some programming via the keypad. And I figured it out. This is the first time I've actually done this, but I figured it out how to do it for this DSC panel. I think you can do the same for whatever brand of alarm system panel you have. As long as it has programmable outputs, you should be good to go. Okay, so on the DSC panel has two programmable outputs here, program 1 and program 2. And I'm going to program those. There are a bunch of options if you look into the installation guide. But for me, what I want to know is the system armed or disarmed, and has it been triggered? So I'm going to set those two types of programs on for program 1 and 2 respectively, and then hook it up to the connected board. Okay, now I'm going to program those two programmable outputs on my DSC board. That's program 1 and program 2. And I looked it up in the manual, and the code to program those outputs is 009, and then I'm going to program output 1 as a follower for the siren, and that code is 01, and then program 2 is going to be to know my armed or disarmed status, and that code is 05. Now your alarm system panel is probably going to be different, and just look it up in the programming guide, or you know, I can't help you unfortunately with programming of your alarm panel, so please don't ask. Don't write into support about your alarm system programming, because that's not our area of expertise. If you do need help with programming, or you don't have the master programming code for your alarm system, contact a professional who installed your system, and they may be able to help you. But once you've got that programming down, the connected part is easy, and that we certainly can help you with. Okay, so I hit *8 and then my programmer code 5555. And now we're in program mode, and then I'm going to hit 009 to program those outputs, and then 01 for the first output, and 05 for the second output. And then hit pound twice to go back to the normal mode. Alright, these program outputs get hooked up in exactly the same way. I've got two more jumper wires here, male-to-male jumper wires, and I'm going to connect program 1 and program 2 to zones 4 and 5 respectively. Now you do need a zone for each program that you're going to monitor, or each output that you're going to monitor. So the zones can be used for actually monitoring your zones, or also programmable outputs. They work in the same way. So let's go ahead and connect those. Alright, now the way that these programmable outputs work, at least on this DSC panel, is that they are normally an open circuit, and then when the condition is true, in this case we've programmed it for program 1 for the alarm when the alarm is triggered, program 2 when the alarm is armed. If either of those are true, then those will show as a closed circuit. So right now we are going to do the same tuning process, but since there are no resistors in this line and the circuit is currently open, we're going to just tune it all the way to the counterclockwise position, and the orange light should be off because the circuit is open. Now, and I've also set this up in Home Assistant. You guys can see here. These are just set up as open, close, or binary sensors. It would be the same for SmartThings or Hubitat. They would just be a type of open, close sensor. You can set it up for whatever you want, but I kind of chose these types. Like the arm status is the lock icon, and the alarm triggered is the shield icon. Right now it's showing the check mark and the unlock because we're not armed. So let's give that a try and see if everything works. So first, let's just do the simple. I'm going to arm the system by hitting the stay button, and let's see what happens here. It's armed, and could you see that? That lock just changed from open to closed. It's armed right now. And we saw that orange light come on over here. Let's try that. Let's disarm it. My code is 1234. And there we go, and that icon just changed from lock to unlock, indicating that it's disarmed. Now, of course, you could set up any automation that you want based on this sensor. I'm not doing anything right now. This is just for demonstration purposes. But once that open-close circuit is in your home automation platform, whether it's Home Assistant or SmartThings or whatever, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Now let's set off the alarm and see that that alarm triggered also works. So let's see if you guys can see this. And I'm gonna arm the system in stay mode. Okay, we're showing armed here. Triggered is still a check mark. I'm gonna open one of my doors and give it a second there. There's a little bit of an entry delay, or wait for it. There we go. Okay, it took 30 seconds or so to get out that delay, but you see my siren is going off, or in this case my strobe light, and we saw that light up for zone 4, which is indicating the alarm status, and we saw the icon here in Home Assistant change from the checkbox shield to the exclamation point, meaning that sensor has tripped. So again, I could do any automation I want. I could send a text message, I could turn on the lights, I could send push notifications, whatever I decided to automate in my home automation platform, now I can do that by just monitoring those programmable outputs. Alright, cool. So let's disarm the system, and I'm going to let you guys watch that state change almost instantly. My code is 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. It goes back to disarmed and alarm is no longer triggered. How do you like that? Okay, so far I've showed you how to monitor all of your zones in parallel with your functioning alarm system, and set up 2 programmable outputs to know if your alarm has been triggered or if the alarm is armed or disarmed. And now for the final trick, let's see how we can use a input zone or a key switch zone type along with a relay module to remotely arm and disarm from your home automation framework. And so to do that, again, we're going to have to jump into some panel programming, and you'll need an available zone on your alarm panel to do this. And most alarm panels have a capability of defining one of your zones as a key switch, which basically means you can set it as a held or a momentary contact that when opened or closed, it does something. In this case, we wanted to toggle arm and disarm. So I looked it up in my DSC programming manual, and if I program one of these zones as zone type 22, then that's going to be a momentary key switch, which will alternately arm and disarm when the contact is momentarily opened. So let's go ahead and program that. And I think I'm going to program it on zone 6, and then we'll hook it up to a relay module on the connected board so we can control it from Home Assistant or SmartThings. Alright, I'm going to program, basically got to reprogram my zones. The way that this works is you type in your program, go to program mode, star 8, and then my code 5555. Now I'm in program mode. 001 means program the zones, and then you've got to program them each in order with a 2-digit code. So zone 1, 2, and 3 are going to be your regular open close delay zones, which is 01. So 01, 01, 01. Then zone 4 is not used, so 00. Zone 5 not used, 00. And zone 6 is going to be my key switch, which is 22. And that's it. Then press pound, and then double pound again to go back to normal mode. Okay, so I've programmed my zone 6 as that key switch, and because my system is configured to be using these resistors, I've just shorted zone 6 with another one of these 5600 ohm resistors. And what happens when we use a key switch is, as long as that circuit is held closed, then nothing happens. But as soon as I momentarily break that connection, it's going to send the system to, it's going to give a system the signal to arm or disarm. So let's just test that first before we wire up the relay. And to do that, I will just temporarily disconnect this and then put it back again. And then you hear my alarm doing the countdown, and that armed status light is on now, meaning that it's arming the system. Okay, so to automate our key switch arming and disarming, we're going to use a relay module like this one. If you purchase a 12-zone kit from us, you'll get a 2-channel relay module so that you can control 2 things. Each one of these alarm panel interface boards can control 1 relay module. So I'm going to use just this the single one. Now, if you're not familiar with how a relay module works, it's pretty simple. There's 2 sides. This is like the low voltage control side, and then this is the circuit that we're trying to control on this side. So at the bottom here on the control side, you'll see DC plus and minus, and also the in. The in is our signal, and DC plus and minus is our 5 volt input. These relay modules are powered by a 5 volt DC, and not coincidentally, that's what we're getting from those pins on the top left corner of the connected board, and so those are designed to go into this side. And then on the top side of the relay, you'll see it's labeled COM in the middle, NC and NO. NC stands for normally closed, and NO stands for normally open. Sorry, that was upside down. There we go. And what that's doing is just opening and closing a circuit depending on whether the relay is activated or not. In the inactive state, the normally closed circuit is complete, and in the active state, the normally open circuit is complete. I hope I pointed to the right one. So all we really need to do is, in this case, for our key switch, we want to create a normally closed loop and then temporarily open it when we trigger that from our home automation platform. And in my panel's case, it's configured to use those 5600 ohm resistors, so I have to have that resistor in that loop somewhere in order for it to recognize it. You may or may not have to do that depending on how your panel is configured and if the resistors are required. And I'm going to use these little adhesive standoff feet to stick my relay module right underneath zone 1 where I want it, so that I can tie that resistor to the normally closed circuit, just so I don't have to worry about splicing the wire. So right next to there. Okay, good. Take one side of that resistor off, connect it to the COM of my relay. So I've just put this relay module here and connected the zone 6 through that resistor to the COM on the relay. Now we'll take the other end, I'll take another wire, male to male, in the COM. And there it is, there's our circuit closure. So our system is arming. Okay, I hope that's clear to you guys. All I've really done is, instead of that closed loop between COM and zone 6, I've just recreated that same loop, but instead going through the normally closed two contacts on this relay module. So now the next step is to connect the relay module to the connected board so that we can control it. For that, I'm going to use 3 of these male to female jumpers, because these pins on this side require female jumper, so the colors don't matter. So let's just put in these 3 pins here. And so I've got orange going to 5 volts, red is ground, and brown is out. So those are going to go to DC plus, DC minus, and in respectively on the relay module. Thing I forgot to mention on these relays, and this is important, is there's a little jumper here that has H and L for high and low. We always want that on the high side because this is a high level trigger, and that just means it's triggered when the voltage is high versus when the voltage is pulled to ground. Okay, so our relay module is in place and our key switch is programmed to arm and disarm. In my Home Assistant, I've created a switch called arm disarm, and I've set this up as a momentary switch, with a 1 second momentary contact. So let's give it a try, and it'll momentarily open that relay to arm the system. There it goes, you see that? You heard that click of the relay, and now you're hearing the countdown of my alarm system. And if we look here, the state has changed to armed on Home Assistant. So it's counting down, it's exit delay, but I can toggle that switch again to disarm it. There it is, disarmed. You heard that click again of the relay, and that's all there is to it, really. So that's really the extent of my demo today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you could see the power and the flexibility of this system that lets you connect your wired alarm system in parallel directly to any of the 4 home automation frameworks that we support: SmartThings, Home Assistant, Hubitat, and OpenHAB, and hopefully more in the future. These tiny connected modules, you can add as many of you as you want to your system. Each one supports up to 6 zones. These magnetic feet make them easy to mount anywhere. I put this for demonstration purposes inside the box. I know some of you might be worried about the Wi-Fi signal inside this metal can when you close it. So if that's a concern for you, I've seen a lot of people mount them on the outside of the panel or even on top and run those wires through one of those punch-out holes, and that works really great. You don't have to use these jumper wires that come with the kit. This is just to make it easy and out of the box for you, but any kind of wire that you have laying around the house will do. I have a spool of this 22 gauge copper wire that's used for alarm systems, and that works out great if you want to do a longer wire run to mount your connected boards externally from your alarm panel. That's fine too. So I hope you enjoyed the demo, and I hope you really enjoy this product because I think it could be a game changer in terms of remote monitoring for no monthly fees, of course. And that's our game here. So let me know how you like it. Put your comments below. Check out our website, konnected.io. That's Konnected.io, where you can buy the Konnected Alarm Panel interface board. It starts at $99 for the 6-zone kit. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.